It's 1998. Grant Cardone is on the floor of his one-bedroom apartment in Fort Worth, Texas, not a dime in his pocket, drowning in addiction and desperate. His dreams of being a millionaire feel more like a cruel joke as the world keeps telling him to tone it down, settle for average. But something inside him burns hotter than any doubt, a fierce obsession that won't let him quit. What if this obsession is the secret to everything? When everyone told Grant to be reasonable, his life crashed hard. Let's dig into why those rules weren't just wrong, they were deadly to his dream. Grant Cardone hit rock bottom after following the script others wrote for him. Living in a rundown apartment in Fort Worth with no job and a drug addiction, he faced the crushing weight of average. Family and friends urged him to find a steady job, but Grant's dreams were too wild for those chains. His turning point, realizing reasonable wouldn't build his empire. In fact, it almost destroyed him. Think of obsession like a wildfire in a drought, relentless, savage, impossible to ignore. Grant describes obsession not as a mere hobby or interest, but an all-consuming force that demands your full energy, attention, and stamina. This fire can burn down the old average you and clear the way for something wild and spectacular to rise in its place. When Grant gave himself permission to be obsessed, and only obsessed, everything changed. Instead of fearing judgment, he leaned into what others called crazy. Suddenly, he was closing multi-million-dollar deals, building 5 companies, and stepping into the kind of massive success that reasonable never imagined. The surprise? Obsession isn't reckless, it's the engine for extraordinary achievement. Obsession isn't just passion, it's a full-contact sport. Grant's story shows how to take that burning fire and wield it like a weapon in your everyday grind. Grant's famous 10x rule was born from his own obsession-fueled hustle. While others worked 40 hours a week, he pushed 400%. Driving through Florida traffic in his beat-up truck, calling prospects non-stop, Grant saw every no as fuel, not failure. This wasn't busy work. It was an all-in sprint that scared off anyone not ready to keep up. Grant compares naysayers to static on an old radio, annoying, distracting, and loud. But obsession acts like a high-powered tuner, filtering out all that noise. When you're obsessed, you don't just ignore critics, you use their doubt as proof you're on the right path. That radical focus shatters self-doubt and muffles the world's negativity. This relentless drive creates momentum that feeds itself. The more you act obsessed, the easier it becomes to double, triple your efforts. Grant's obsession turned failures into stepping stones and small wins into tidal waves. The big reveal, momentum born of obsession doesn't just propel success, it practically guarantees it. Grant's obsession wasn't just about money, it was about owning the wildest version of success. Let's unpack what that actually means. Grant dared to dream of owning mansions, airplanes, and impacting millions, dreams that made family and friends uncomfortable. He famously declared his goals loud and unapologetically, claiming a crazy level of success when others advised modest goals. This boldness is a muscle you need to train. Grant's wild ambitions weren't arrogance but a declaration that limits belong to others, not you. Saying no to average means rejecting the middle-class safety net and the quiet life many settle for. Grant warns that playing safe is the fastest route to an uninspired existence. His switch from average to obsessed meant saying no to comfort and yes to discomfort, which birthed innovation, daring, and unstoppable growth. Surprisingly, Grant pairs obsession with massive giving. His wild ambition includes huge philanthropy, giving away more than many expect he'd keep. Obsession, he reveals, fuels generosity because when you hit big, you want to make a real difference. This transformation from taker to giver flips the usual success story upside down. Remember that cramped Fort Worth apartment? Grant's obsession was the spark in that dark moment. It refused to let him settle for average. Your obsession might be buried under doubt or noise, but it's waiting, ready to ignite your wildest success. Try this, write down the most outrageous goal you've ever thought and live one day acting obsessed about it. Watch your world shift. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.